What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be going over some stippling. We're going to do a little bit of stipple work and talk about why I stippled my guns, or how to stipple, what I used, and the age-old question: to stipple or not to stipple. So first things first, I want to get into why I even started doing this. Probably like you, I owned firearms that didn't have the best grip and I needed more texture. Some people use the grip tape, like skateboard tape, which I actually skateboard, but I do have grip tape as well, but they're for my skateboards. And they use grip tape type stickers all over their firearms, which still wear off, and other things like that. The very first time I ever had a gun that was stippled, I actually sent with a friend of mine, and he did a double undercut followed by a stipple job on a Glock 23 I owned before. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I was so in love with it that I decided to take my own hand and try and stipple my Glock 37. If you're familiar with the Glock 37, it is a 45 gap, and it is a full-size gun. It is one of the beefier guns with the fat slide and things like that. It has been Cerakoted, sniper gray, and then I decided to stipple it after the fact. This was more of a test dummy, and I liked it. You know, I had different type of tips on my little burner, and after that I just said, you know what, I wanted to know what it was like to actually stipple this gun, so I did it, and it works. Now of course it's kind of aggressive, but nothing too bad. So either way, that's that. Recently I've been getting to the point where I've been shooting this gun right here, which you may have seen in a few videos. This is a Glock 22 upper and just a standard frame lower receiver at this point, because this is not the original anymore. This was at one point warped. So I actually was shooting this firearm and it got warped really bad at an actual range, and I was doing some single action stuff or single hand stuff, and the gun actually got torqued so much in my hand that it actually fractured the frame. Glock sent me a new one out, but obviously it had a new serial number, and at that point I just had a, whatever you want to call it, hodgepodge gun or a Frankenstein gun. So from there I decided to continue the Frankenstein and put a 9mm conversion barrel in it. It still does have the let's go ahead and clear that. It still does have the standard 40 cal safe ejector, as you can see right here. It doesn't have the 9mm ejector, which is a little bit more curved to the right, and I think I can show you that right here on this Glock 20 or Glock 19, also clear and safe on this P80. So if you can see right here, this ejector is the 9mm ejector, so it actually hooks to the right a little bit, and it helps with that. I personally have had no issues shooting 9mm out of my Glock 22 with the 9mm conversion barrel. But like I said before, to stipple or not to stipple. So I did stipple this gun. I did a double undercut job on it a while ago, back in San Diego, maybe about 7-8 years ago. You know, I was just having fun with it. Also, at the same time, I was getting into my Cerakote stuff. And as you can see right here, I left this big patch completely empty. And the reason for it is because I actually wanted to put my initials or something like that on it and, you know, kind of be cool. Like all the cool kids when they used to fill in the letters and serial number, just dumb stuff that people did whenever they were modifying their weapons and stuff like that. But the time has come. I'm going to actually finish the stipple job right here and just go ahead and cover it all up. I have no clue to put a logo or anything like that there. And what I'll be using is this little soldering kit from Weller. It's already been heated up right now. As you can see, I've got burn marks over here. This whole thing is hot, not just the tip. It will burn every part of it, so you might want to use some sort of gloves when you're doing it. And yeah, that's that. This is my original M18 grip module that came from SIG. Still great. I've shot 1,000 rounds plus through this grip module, but I didn't like it. I needed to do something that was better, and I considered stippling it, but instead of that, a company called Wilson Combat, which many of you have probably heard of, already has a grip module that is essentially what we would call a stipple job. Okay, so that's clear, and it has, you know, a better texture right here, and it has a lot more aggressive on the front and the back for your hand. So it's a lot harder for me to actually torque this thing out of my hands than it was with a normal the normal grip module, which is this. not only did I change these two out, this grip is a lot shallower. So this is a flush 15 round magazine, whereas this is a flush 17 round mag. Still going into that, I recently posted a video about my SIG P365 with all the upgrades on it. Same thing happened with this. The standard grip module from SIG wasn't enough. I wanted a better texture, a better grip on the front and back. So I once again bought a Wilson Combat, no magazine, empty, and I love it. So this got me back into the whole thought process again of doing a grip module. So like I said, this P80 one right here, as you can see, it says P80, this Glock 19 version of a P80, it already has a nice aggressive texture to it on both sides. I do like this thing a lot. I don't like the slide possibly. I've had a lot of failures to feed, failures to extract, failures to eject, just a whole bunch of malfunctions and stoppages with this firearm specifically. I did read some forums online telling me shoot more rounds, do a trigger job, do this, do that, and I may get into that later, but as of right now, I'm going to continue to do what I've been doing with this Glock 22 or Glock 17, whatever you want to call it. And the reason I'm saying 22 or 17 is at the beginning I said this was a whole Glock 22 until the frame got replaced, so now it's just any other random full-size frame for a Glock. The reason it's going to be considered a Glock 17 only now is because I bought this slide from Leo Precision. I do have an RMR from an old ACOG I put on top just to see how it would fit. And I bought an entire Glock 17 slide kit and everything. So this is going to be a Glock 17 slide that will go right on top of this. And you'll kind of see what I'm talking about once everything comes into play. It'll look something similar to this, and this will be a Glock 17. But before I finish this gun that I'm going to be using in certain competitions and just to have fun, I want to finish this stipple job right here, and I want to show you guys how I actually do it. As I stated before, this is nothing too fancy. I can take off the light if I want to, but there's really no point to take the light off. It's just, if anything, it's something else I can grab hold of while I'm doing this and, you know, kind of get some angles on it. But safety first, I'm going to go ahead and take a pair. I have a pair of gloves, but I'm only going to wear the right glove, the one that my hand is touching the soldering iron to. These are not anything specifically like Nomex or fireproof, and if they are, I'm not sure. But this tip has already been burning this piece of wood already, and you can see on this little spot right there that I left that mark. So it is warm enough, or I should say hot enough, to start the stipple job. So bear with me. So let's go ahead and go, and all I'm going to be doing is just hitting it with small little dots around the whole thing. And this is something that a lot of people pay a lot of money for because they don't have a soldering iron, they don't have all the different tips, or they feel that it's not worth it, and so they go and buy the skateboard grip tape and stuff like that, which is fine. As I stated before, you don't have to buy a soldering iron kit, but I can tell you right now, it is cheaper to buy this kit and maybe even a Dremel kit, do your own double undercut, do your own stipple job, and then you get to keep all those parts and tools afterwards, and then you can make money doing it if that's something you choose to do. I don't remember how long this took me to even get it to this part right here. It did take a little while. Cool thing is I have other firearms to shoot in the process or in the time that I was doing this. I think I just really liked the art of it. My other channel is called Darian's Creations, where I do a lot of art and I draw a lot. And that was something that I really enjoyed growing up, is just art in every aspect. I love art. So, yeah, you may be able to even hear some of these. I'm going to be quiet now, and you may be able to even hear some of the actual burns come through. So I can go ahead and continue to talk to you about this, or you can just watch this in a more of a time lapse, and then I'll go ahead and show you the finished product. After a while too, this tip right here, as you can probably see, this tip will start to get clogged right here. And so what you want to do is get some sort of steel wool or sandpaper or something to go ahead and kind of knock that off. So let me go ahead and do that for now. Guys, that's it. I'm going to be done with this stipple job for now. I'm going to go ahead and unplug this soldering iron so the lights go out. So let me go ahead and set this down and boom, there it is. Lights are out. Still very, very much hot. So don't be a clown and think that it won't burn, because it still will burn plenty of things. So either way, I'm just going to let it rest right here and just burn this wood, sacrificial piece of wood right here, and kind of just show you guys exactly what I did. So to the touch, I can definitely feel that it is a lot more aggressive than per se this side, where this is old. I did this stipple job for all of this about 6-7 years ago. So yeah, feeling this right now, I might want to go ahead and do all of it again at some point. And I like the way this looks better, although it probably looked the same and it's just been worn out from being grabbed for so many years. And I left this little triangle play button looking thing on here as just whatever, just as something where I could always quickly identify mine in case I was at a range where other people had the same similar setup. Or I just didn't feel like doing it. But either way, that's what I'm gonna do right now. And yeah, so this is my stipple job for my Glock 17 or 22, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to leave that little guy right there for now. And yeah, at some point, Let me see if this is still hot enough to hit a couple of these little barely. Well, either way, so I can take off my glove now. Little power switch, glove. Reassemble this.